Howdy, my name is Joydeep and this presentation is the first part of the MSc 660 Materials Informatics presentation series. Today I'm going to give a brief talk on the paper titled Unsupervised Learning Aided Extrapolation for Accelerated Design of Superalloys. This paper is basically a collaborative work from researchers from State Key National Lab of Solidification Processing in Northwestern Polytechnic University in China and AI Materials LLC based in New Mexico, USA. It is a fairly recent paper and it is published in August 24 in the fairly reputable NPJ Computational Materials journal. So, right now there is a vast interplay among the composition, processing, and structure, which opens up a huge space in the material explorations for basic property tunability. Conventional There is a conventional prediction-oriented research. It is based on interpolation due to a large unexplored space. Here, we try to explore a more sampling framework towards extrapolation that is presented. It integrates basically a combination of different machine learning techniques like supervised regression, unsupervised clustering, the interpretable analysis, and similarity evaluation to basically uh, target candidate materials in the vast search space. This is more important when there is the available data distribution set is limited. So unsupervised learning will be a key tool to assess and find new candidate alloys to solve the material selection problem. The efficacy of this proposed strategy is tested to improve the design of new generation superalloys at higher operational temperature. And basically, the key parameter to control is the T gamma prime, which is the solvus temperature of the intermetallics. Since solvus temperature is basically dependent on the chemistry or the alloy composition, the primary objective is basically to improve this condition by maximizing the chemical modification. The strategy is basically to select a design space of more than 200 alloys and then narrow them down finally into 9 distinct compositions for experimental validation. So here we present a brief roadmap on the computational and experimental workflow. Initially, there is a data set of 179 superalloys, and this is basically a data acquisition technique which comprises of 3 types of superalloys: the cobalt-based, cobalt-nickel based, as well as nickel-based superalloys. They have 64 descriptors that is related to atomic radii as well as the thermodynamic properties, and they are used to describe each alloy. In the second part, there is a selection of feature where the 64 features are basically reduced to a more manageable number by using a correlation analysis for prediction of the solvus temperature. Basically, this helps to improve the efficiency and accuracy of the model. Based on the interpretable analysis, a search space of potential superalloys was defined, and then a classification model was basically utilized to screen out alloys that didn't have the gamma prime intermetallic phase. And finally, coming to unsupervised learning, this paper uses a special type of unsupervised learning called the T-SNE clustering, which is basically used to identify a cluster of alloys in a high dimensional space. And they basically list out candidate alloys with high T gamma prime, which is basically distant from the training objective to find distinct and new alloys. And they performed similarity analysis to basically screen out materials for experimental validation. And finally, they conducted experiments on narrowed down design space of 9 superalloys that showed approximately 50 degrees Celsius improvement in the gamma prime solvus temperature, which is actually a lot considering the thermal stability at higher temperatures for superalloys. Um, So initially, supervised learning techniques were used to generate models that would be accurately predict the target property. But in this case, the target property being the solvus temperature of the gamma prime intermetallic phase, this assisted in extensive computational screening of large amount of candidate materials, more than like 9 different elements, so infinite possible combinations. So they utilized like 4 types of machine learning algorithms: the gradient boosting, support vector regression, k-nearest neighbor, and linear regression models to basically come up with the best subset to further reduce these features. And this utilizes to basically down selection of the 4 features, which are the mixing enthalpy, the coefficient differential, the differential between the coefficient of thermal expansion, um, the differential in the atomic sizes, as well as the element neutron cross section. Um, Further, it was found that all these machine learning models were extremely stable within these 4 features. The search space was finally narrowed down from 4 to 2 using Shapley additive explanators, which is the SHAP analysis, to basically understand the contribution from each individual features. It was found that the enthalpy of mixing and the atomic size differential had the highest effect on the gamma prime solver's temperature, and their coupling effect was found to be the largest uh, uh, with respect to all the other possible combinations. And they do follow a linear relation, and it was found the gamma prime, the solver's temperature, basically increases linearly with the increase in the atomic size differential, and decreases with the increase in the mixing enthalpy. And further, this model was classified using the post-SHAP analysis. Finally, we use the T-SNE clustering supervised algorithm for reduction in the dimensionality and also visualization of the high dimensional data space. This helps in basically exploration of the search spaces with higher solver's temperatures in the alloys, that is basically distinct from the training dataset. And so here you can see the differential clusters like the candidate regions as well as the original and the adjacent regions that are differentially marked. And 2 features, namely the atomic size differential and the mixing enthalpy, was basically used to screen down 12 candidate alloys at the operable temperature range above 1200 C. And here you can see the highest contribution comes from these 2 parameters, which are marked in blue. After clustering and the SHAP analysis, basically they utilized radar plots, which are further used to screen down alloys. And basically, if we plot original alloys versus candidate alloys, they show the highest differential values, which means the clustering process was indeed satisfactory, helping us to move outside of the candidate original adjacent region to explore other regions in this vast compositional design space. And within those candidate alloys, it was found the highest variability was found among the chromium and the tungsten atoms. And so from these 12 possible elements, 12 possible combinations of the candidate region, 3 were down selected to basically understand the maximum compositional differences. Um, Finally, we come to experimental validation for 3 types of superalloys. They narrowed down to 3 individual superalloy sets for validating experimentally. And here we can observe the predicted and the measured um, solver's temperatures, and the difference is not statistically significant. In terms of experiment, it was found that there was a significant improvement in the solver's temperature of the cobalt nickel based superalloy, which is almost 50 degrees Celsius. And then if we look at the scatter plot between del HM and del MV, we find that these new alloys are basically located outside of the conventional training dataset of 179 alloys, which means that these alloys were designed via extrapolation uh, in unsupervised learning. So to summarize, basically, there were from a list of 127 possible superalloys, 9 superalloys were down selected, 3 in each case. And among them, the cobalt nickel based superalloy reported significant improvements in the solvus temperature of the gamma intermetallic phase, which basically can stabilize this superalloy at higher temperatures. Operational requirement for this optimizing the solvus temperature requires both atomic size mismatch as well as mixing enthalpy, and it does control the thermal stability of the superalloys. And finally, this approach basically demonstrated that how machine learning could be leveraged for extrapolation, accelerating the materials discovery in cases where basically the data is sparse.